The Grand Galactic Council Chamber was the most secure room in the galaxy. Thick steel walls, energy shields, guards from every species standing silent at every door. The ceiling showed a view of the stars fake, of course, but it made the chamber feel big, important, united. At the center stood a giant circle of seats. Each one belonged to a different species. There were 89 in total. But today, everyone stared at one empty chair. The human chair. It hadn't been empty for 70 years. Not since Earth first joined the Council. Not since humanity arrived from the far edge of the Orion Arm and said they wanted peace, trade, and a place among the stars. Now it was empty, and nobody knew why. Ambassador Thelen, of the man race, leaned forward, her fur twitching nervously. "Is this a message?" she asked out loud. "Is this war?" "No," said a cold voice from the other side. It was Counselor Drex, the tall, scaled diplomat of the Vortec. Humans are dramatic. They like to make statements, is one of them. But his voice didn't sound sure. The humans had left without warning. No signal. No formal letter. One day their embassies were open, the next gone. Their ships left space stations, their diplomats vanished, their AI translators shut off, and now their chair. Empty. A young Corey officer walked in, holding a datapad. "We received a message," he said. His antenna shook with fear. It was left in the human embassy on Ural Prime. Everyone turned to look. "Well," barked Counselor Drex, "read it." The officer cleared his throat. It says, quote, "When diplomacy ends, so does silence. That's all. No name, no location, no signature." Silence filled the room. A cold silence. The kind that made even war generals shift in their seats. Feline stood up slowly. "We all know what Earth can do," she said. "They helped defeat the Rift invasion. They stopped the Zoltec pirates. They saved the Turvan moons during the quake storms. Humans were always the first to respond. They were too involved." Drex snapped. "Too loud. Too curious." "The curiosity built alliances," Feline replied. "And now they've withdrawn." "Why?" No one answered because no one knew. Or at least, no one wanted to say. Far away on the dark edge of the galaxy, a small listening post picked up something. A pulse. No language. Just a frequency, it repeated. Every 5 seconds. Then it stopped. A technician on duty leaned forward and blinked. "What was that?" he whispered. Then all the lights went off. Back in the council chamber, the silence was broken by the soft sound of boots. Heavy, calm footsteps echoed down the chamber floor. Everyone turned, expecting a human. It wasn't. It was the security chief. He whispered something into Counselor Drex's ear. Drex's face turned pale. His scales shimmered from green to gray. "What is it?" Feline asked. Drex hesitated. Then spoke. "The Earth Embassy on Central Prime has self-destructed. No casualties. But the building is gone. Gone. Destroyed by its own system." Feline felt her heart sink. "They're not just leaving," she said slowly. "They're erasing themselves." The chamber filled with unease. No one moved. Even the guards looked unsure. Then, in the center of the hall, the human chair made a soft, mechanical sound. Everyone jumped. A small light blinked on the back of the chair. A projection appeared. It was static at first. Then, a face. Not live. Not real. Just a recording. It was an old human woman, dressed in black. Calm eyes. "This message is not for war," she said. "It's for memory. You took our words and turned them into weapons. You took our silence and called it weakness. You took our patience and fed it to politics. But we remembered. Every time, every insult, every broken deal, every secret meeting without us." She paused. "We are not leaving in anger. We're leaving in clarity." Then the image faded, and the light on the chair turned off forever. Outside the council chambers, panic began to spread. Small news stations picked up the story. "Earth leaves council. Humans withdraw. Is the war coming? Nobody had answers. Ships changed course. Trade slowed. Messages between planets carried fear more than facts, and on Earth, no one replied. The skies above Earth were quiet, but something was moving. Something big. And it wasn't heading toward war. It was heading toward something much colder. Something planned, something no one in the galaxy was ready for. It started with silence. No ships, no messages, no threats. Earth was quiet, too quiet. The Grand Galactic Council tried to stay calm. They'll come back, some said. It's just a protest. Others whispered. But deep down, everyone knew this wasn't like before. Then the disappearances began. It started in the Torvin system, a massive asteroid base home to, over. 3,000 workers just vanished. Gone. No explosion, no distress signal, no wreckage only. Silence. The rescue team arrived 12 minutes later. They found nothing. Just a hole in space. Empty. Cold. Dead. This doesn't make sense, said Commander Lurex, staring at the empty coordinates. There should be debris bodies. Something. But there was only one thing left behind. A tiny floating beacon. It blinked once. Twice. And then projected a single message in every known language. Balance begins. The beacon then melted itself down. Auto-destruct back on Central Prime. Panic began to spread. Ambassador Thelen stood before the council again. We cannot ignore this, she said. Something's happening, and Earth is behind it. Counselor, Drex of the Vortex slammed his clawed hand on the table. You don't have proof. Deline pointed to the screen behind her. It showed 3 more disappearances in the last 48 hours. A trade ship near the Killer Gates. A research satellite from the Venari system. And a patrol squad that never made it home. All gone. No signs of violence. No broadcasts. Just silence. Theline's voice grew sharper. It's not war. It's control.
Ow.
They're removing eyes, ears, mouths, everything that watches or speaks. The chamber fell silent again. This time no one argued. On the edge of the galaxy, in a small military station orbiting a red dwarf, a technician picked up something strange, ma'am, he said, turning to his superior. I've got a signal. What kind? She asked. The screen flashed once. Then again, a slow, steady pulse. It's old, the technician said. Very old. Human frequency. From before the AI ban. They stared at it. The message wasn't words. It was music. Soft piano. Cold. Haunting. Playing from deep space then. The station lost power. Everything went dark. On a backwater moon, forgotten human satellite, one thought to be offline for decades, suddenly powered up. Its message was simple. This is not revenge. This is balance. Across the galaxy, more satellites began waking up. Not just on human systems. Everywhere. Back in the council. Things were falling apart. News agencies spread fear. Human ghost fleets are moving. Earth is watching. The war has already started, Faline called an emergency meeting with key leaders. Some wanted to prepare fleets. Others wanted to send messages of peace. One group even suggested offering Earth full control of neutral zones, just to avoid conflict. But then something changed everything. A human ship appeared in the skies above Orlane, independent trade world. It was a destroyer, old model but modified, no markings, no signal, no known registration. The planet's defense, systems powered up, but the human ship didn't fire. It just hovered, watched. Then it sent a message to every terminal on the planet. This world once helped humans. It will not be harmed. Then the ship disappeared into deep space without using a known jump gate. The message was clear. Earth wasn't attacking randomly. They had a plan, a map, and a memory of who had been friend or enemy. The council watched the footage of the Orlon incident in silence. No one knew what to say. Finally, Drex leaned forward. His voice was low. tense. We always believed humans needed the council. He paused. But what if we were wrong? Feline stared at the screen where the ghost ship had vanished. We never asked what they were building, she whispered. While we were talking, maybe they were preparing. Now the galaxy had to face the truth. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They'd stepped back. And now they were watching. Quiet, precise, dangerous. And as everyone looked to the stars, one question remained. What comes after silence? It started with a mistake. A Zellery scout ship, Kara-19, was traveling through the far-reach zone. A dead sector with no colonies, no trade lanes, and no records of life. The crew was bored, half asleep. Nothing ever happened out here then there. Scanners picked up something strange. "Commander," the pilot said slowly, "we're detecting." "A planet," the commander frowned. "There are no planets in this sector, I know. But it's there. Atmosphere, gravity, oceans, and buildings. Buildings. No one lived in this sector. It had been empty for thousands of years. The council had mapped it a dozen times. Nothing had ever been found. But the data was clear. A full-sized Earth-like planet was there. With cities, power, life support, and yet no transmissions, no signs of movement, no name. It didn't appear on any star map. It simply wasn't supposed to exist. The Kara-19 approached slowly. Their ship passed through strange static-like, a thick fog of radio noise. For a moment, their screens went dark, then came back. The planet was still there, spinning quietly below them. They entered orbit. What they saw made their blood run cold. The cities were human, the architecture, the power grids, the roads, the symbols, but they were empty. No ships, no people, just machines. In silence, "This looks like Earth tech," the science officer said. "But advanced, too advanced." They sent down drones. The machines flew through towering skyscrapers, past massive towers that hummed with unknown energy. They scanned rooms filled with AI cores, many of them still running. Screens lit up when the drones entered, showing human faces. And not real, just digital. Watching one screen spoke. Access denied. Another observer mode active. Then, one final screen activated. It displayed a message. "You are not forgotten, but you are not welcome." The commander ordered the ship to retreat, but it was too late. A wave of gravity pulled them closer, not crushing them, not breaking the ship, just holding it. Gently, like a warning, the engine screamed. Then just as suddenly as it had started, the pull stopped. The ship was free. They left orbit. Fast, the crew didn't speak for hours. Back at the council. Report hit like a shockwave. A human ghost world. Drek snapped. Impossible. But the data was real. Feline stood at the front of the chamber, showing the footage. "We don't know how long this planet has been here, but I believe Earth built it in secret. Why would they hide it?" someone asked. Feline looked around the room to test something, or prepare for something. Something they didn't. "Want the rest of us to see?" The Vortec counselors demanded the planet be destroyed. Others warned against provoking Earth. Further, Feline stayed quiet. She had noticed something strange in the footage. The planet's energy readings weren't just strong, they were bending physics. Gravity twisted unnaturally near the surface. Time moved slightly slower. Even the laws of light were distorted. Earth hadn't just built a secret colony. They had built something new, something that could change how the galaxy worked, and they had kept it hidden until now. That night, across the galaxy, more strange events occurred. A cargo ship's navigation system randomly displayed the coordinates of the hidden planet without anyone entering them. An AI historian in the Zurian archives suddenly shut down, whispering one phrase. "They remember everything." Above an old battlefield once shared by humans and their allies, a floating beacon appeared. It played one message on repeat. "The forgotten become the architects of change." Feline couldn't sleep. She looked out her window toward the stars. She realized something terrifying. The galaxy had spent centuries arguing, debating, and trading in the name of peace. But while they talked, Earth built. Earth watched. Remembered, and now Earth was showing the galaxy what they had become without asking for. Permission. The question wasn't, what does Earth want? It was, how many more of these hidden worlds are out there, and what happens when we stop? Hiding. The galaxy had many ghost stories. Old tales of warships lost in battle, drifting through space forever. Most were just myths used to scare young cadets or fill old history books, but one ghost story was real. It was called Fleet. A group of 12 powerful human warships that disappeared 117 years ago during a deep space test run. No, they were never found. The Council had searched for years. Nothing. No wreckage. No signals. Not even black box data. Most believed they were destroyed in an accident, until now. The alarms started at Outpost L9 near the rim wall. A scout drone picked up movement. Large. Metallic. Silent. A fleet was entering the outer zone. Slowly, like shadows. Commander Joran, a battle-hardened officer, stared at the screen. Identify them, he ordered. The AI replied, unregistered ships, human design, signature matches. Fleet Echo. Everyone froze. That's not possible, Joran whispered. That fleet is dead. But the ships on the screen looked very alive. Sleek, black, no lights, no crew signals, just slow, perfect movement. Then something worse happened. They moved. In sync every turn, every glide, every stop. Like one mind controlling all of them? Are they drones? Someone asked. No, the AI answered. Power levels suggest full capacity warships. But no life signs? They're flying themselves? Joran said in disbelief. Yes, the AI replied. And they're watching us. The outpost tried to make contact. No reply. They sent a warning to the Council. But by the time the message arrived, the fleet had already moved again this time. Toward the Pallor system. It's home to 3 Council-owned colonies. By the time anyone reacted, it was too late. In the Pallor system, sensors picked up the ships approaching. At first, no one panicked. Maybe it was an old human patrol. Then the power grids went down. Shields failed. Comes jammed. No missiles, no lasers. Just silence and power loss. Within 11 minutes, all 3 colonies were offline. Not destroyed, just turned off. All systems disabled, and in the sky above each colony, a single ship hovered quiet, unmoving, like a statue made of war. Back in the council chambers, panic had returned. This is war, shouted one ambassador. They haven't fired a single weapon, Celine said firmly. They're not killing, they're demonstrating. Demonstrating what? Drex demanded. Control, Celine replied. Power without violence. She paused, then added, fear without blood. The council demanded answers. But none. Came until a message arrived on every comm channel, every data screen, every planet. A simple sentence. You negotiated peace while plotting control. We remembered. Then the second message came only for the council. Fleet Echo was not. Lost, it was waiting. We gave you time. You used it to weaken us. Now we erase that time. The council ordered. Military fleets to intercept the ghost ships. The fleets launched. None reached the target. Their warp drive shut down mid-jump. Navigation failed. Systems rebooted, but coordinates were scrambled. The attackers didn't even need to fight. They just knew how to turn everything off. On the surface of Trelos 5, a mining moon in council space. Children looked up and pointed at the sky. One of the black ships was hovering above the mountains, silent, not firing, not moving. It stayed there for 7 hours, then disappeared. The next morning, every mining machine on the moon was running 30% faster. No one knew why or how. Now, the council was truly afraid. The humans hadn't come back to destroy. They had come back as ghosts of a memory the galaxy tried to erase. Fleet Echo wasn't dead. It was proof. Proof that while the galaxy played politics, Earth prepared in the most dangerous part. They still hadn't said what they wanted. The truth didn't explode. It leaked like a crack in a dam, small at first, then unstoppable. It began with a hacker named Velton, a young Trillari data runner. She lived in the lower levels of Central Prime and made a living selling old council documents. Nothing special: trade deals, shipping records, budget reports. But one night, while breaking into an old council server, she found something strange. A file labeled ECHO on a protocol, locked, triple encrypted. Human tag. Curious. She cracked it. What she found changed everything. The next morning, Sperry Major Galactic Channel played the same message. The council lead. Velton had released everything. Thousands of documents. Real, stamped, sealed, time-coded, and all of them told. One story: the council had been trying to weaken Earth for decades. Trade routes secretly blocked. Human colonies denied supplies. Diplomats spied on during peace talks. Technology transfers sabotaged. Human votes quietly overruled in private sessions. One file even showed a secret meeting between high-ranking species, discussing how to limit Earth's growth to avoid future imbalance. They had feared Earth's speed and power, so they chose silence, sabotage, control. And Earth knew. In the council chamber, chaos exploded. Ambassadors shouted. All screens played human footage clips of sabotaged colony ships, surveillance recordings. Ignored pleas from Earth's diplomats. Thale and sat in silence. Her claws shook as she read the files. She had believed in peace, in unity, but now she saw the cracks hidden behind. Smiles and handshakes. Then came the second wave of leaks. Worse, it showed why Earth left. A private video feed. A human. Ambassador standing before the council crying. We warned you, she said. We begged you to stop. You turned every hand we offered into a weakness. You think you know diplomacy, she said, voice breaking, but all you've done is play chess with lives. Then came the final sentence. Earth will not return to the table. You've already set it on fire. The feed ended. Across the galaxy, people started asking dangerous questions. Had Earth truly been the enemy? Or had they just been patient? On Garland 4, pro-human protests broke out. Signs read, Earth helped us. You turned peace into a weapon. Maybe they were right to leave. The council tried to calm things. They blamed rogue officials. They called it old history. But it didn't work. Too many people had read the files. Too many saw the truth. And worst of all, many began to agree with Earth. In a quiet council chamber, Fleen stood before the last remaining leaders. She placed one file on the table. It was a human. Report over 60 years old, it said. We are staying in the council, not because we trust them, but because we hope they change. She looked up. They gave us 70 years, she said. We gave them sabotage, silence. Then she said the one thing no one wanted to hear. We didn't lose Earth. We pushed them out. Now, fear had a new face. Not war, not fleets, but guilt. Because the galaxy finally understood this wasn't human revenge. It was human clarity. They had seen what the council truly was, and they walked away. For weeks, Earth had said nothing. No messages, no leaders, just silence. But now, that silence was breaking. It started with a flicker. Every major communication screen across the galaxy flashed just once. Then again, no warning, no countdown, just a voice. A woman's voice, calm, clear, human. And her first words made the galaxy freeze. This is not a warning. The screen lit up. A lone woman stood in front of what looked like a command center.
Oh.
No soldiers, no weapons. Just her dressed in dark gray, hands behind her back, eyes steady. She spoke slowly. Many of you are afraid right now, she said. Some of you believe Earth wants war. She shook her head. We do not want war. We've already won it without firing a shot. Every species watching leaned closer. Our silence was not weakness, she continued. It was time. Time. To build Time to remember. Time to decide. She stepped forward. You called it diplomacy. We called it survival. On council planets, people stopped what they were doing. In markets, on ships, in homes. The galaxy listened, and the voice went. On. You took our trust and fed it to systems designed to slow us down. You took our words and buried them under process. You saw us grow, and tried to make us smaller. She looked directly into the camera now. You tried to control Earth. A pause. You failed. Then came the part no one expected. She didn't threaten. She didn't demand, she explained. We are not coming to rule you, she said. We are coming to separate from you. That word separate hit harder than any weapon. We are removing ourselves from your structures, from your councils, from your alliances. We are no longer part of your order. A map appeared behind. Her stars lit up dozens of systems, all near Earth space. These are now closed zones, she said. Enter them, and we will respond, but not with war, with silence. On dozens of border planets, unmarked human ships appeared in orbit. They did nothing, just hovered silently in the sky like watchers, not invading, not attacking, just ... Present, the human woman finished with one final message. If you ask what, we want, the answer is simple. Nothing. We wanted peace. You gave us politics, so we created distance. The screen faded to black, and just before it shut off completely, one last message appeared. Earth does not rage. Earth remembers. Back in the council, leaders argued, panicked, shouted. She declared war. No, she declared. Independence. Silence is worse than war. We can't predict it. But the lean sat still. She understood something. This was not anger. This was purpose. The galaxy had tried to own Earth through diplomacy. Now Earth had shown the galaxy. What happens when it walks away? And the stars were never this quiet. The council was afraid, really afraid. Not just because Earth was silent, but because the silence was spreading in desperation. The council called for help. Old allies, ancient empires, hidden powers, their last hope, the Valari Dominion. The Valari had ruled parts of the galaxy long before humans ever touched the stars. Their fleets were massive, their dreadnoughts unmatched. We will bring Earth back to the table, said High Lord Corrin Villar, one way or another. 10 warships launched, massive, glowing, armed to the teeth. Every ship carried thousands of soldiers and AI firewalls designed to block human tech. They'll never stop us, Corrin said. They never reached Earth, somewhere near the edge of human space. The Valari fleet stopped, not because of weapons, but because their systems shut down. COMMs, engines, shields, everything. Dead, floating in silence. A soft sound played through every speaker, a heartbeat. Slow, deep. Then a message. Power is not a voice. It's a choice. Then the ships were allowed to turn back. But when they returned, half their data was missing. Memories erased back in the council. Panic turned into fear. They didn't destroy our allies, said one ambassador. They made them ... irrelevant. Some council races began to panic. The Joran coalition signed a peace agreement with Earth on their own without council permission. The Halari broke all trade and opened full access to Earth's tech in exchange for non-target status. Worst blow came from the Renari Republic. Once a key council founder, they made a public statement. We no longer stand with those who tried to weaken Earth. We stand with truth. Systems began to collapse. Alliances crumbled. Treaties were rewritten overnight, and Earth still said nothing. No army, no invasion, just silence and watching. Across neutral worlds, more unmarked human ships appeared. It's like ghosts. No weapons drawn. Just present. People looked up and whispered, "They're not here to conquer. They're here to remind us." In one case, a rogue fleet tried to test Earth's patience. 12 mercenary ships flew into human space, ignoring all warnings. They never came out. Later, a data pod drifted back. It contained a single sentence. This was your only chance. Now the galaxy knew. You didn't need to fight Earth to lose to it. You just needed to forget what they were capable of, and the ones who stood against them. Turned to ash, not by fire, but by fear and memory. Thaline stood before what was left of. The council, her voice was calm, tired. We taught Earth that strength was dangerous. She looked around. And now we've taught the galaxy that silence is worse. No one replied, because by now most of them were watching the stars and wondering, who's next to vanish? But the galaxy was quiet. Not peaceful, just quiet. The council still existed, but barely. Meetings were short. Half the seats were empty. No votes passed. No one trusted anyone, and the human seat, still empty, still watching, in the weeks after Earth's silent return. Everything changed. Trade slowed. Alliances broke. Entire systems switched sides without bullets. Without bombs, Earth never sent soldiers. They didn't need to. Their silence did all the work. A message appeared in deep space. No origin, no signature, just floating in the dark, it said. We gave diplomacy 70 years. We gave peace a voice. But you used it to sharpen knives. And it ended with the words now feared across every star system. Earth remembers. In response, dozens of planets sealed their borders. Others begged for treaties. Some just went dark, hoping to be forgotten. One council world even renamed itself. It's trying to erase its past dealings with human diplomats. It didn't matter. Earth didn't attack. They simply stayed distant, and somehow that was worse. In orbit above neutral space, a massive, unmarked structure appeared. City station. Human design. No windows, no doors. No traffic, no one knew what it was. Only one signal came from it. Observation in progress. It didn't move, didn't speak, just watched, on the ground. People began calling it the Eye, and from that day forward, nothing happened in the galaxy without thinking. Is Earth watching? Thaline, once a proud council ambassador, now lived. Alone on a quiet moon, she received a message one day. No sound, just an image, a memory her, shaking hands with a human ambassador. 30 years ago, smiling, hopeful. That handshake had meant something once now. It was just history. She whispered. To herself, we didn't lose them. We made them leave. Across the galaxy, children were told stories. Not of war, not of heroes, but of silence, and the species who tried to control Earth, and instead taught Earth how to control everything by doing nothing at all. There was no invasion, no surrender, just distance and silence. A new silence, stronger than fleets, deeper than fear, built not on hatred, but on memory. And in that silence, every star learned one truth. You don't need Earth's voice to hear its presence, because now the galaxy didn't. Speak Earth's name in war rooms. They whispered it in fear.